All right, here we are at the field. Today's video, welcome back, first of all. Today's video is going to be letting you guys join me on my process of adding an overstable mid-range to my bag. So, especially with the first tournament of the year being Las Vegas, and then Waco, and then Dynamic Disc Open and Worlds, these are all courses that are in areas of the country that are super windy. And I've realized that I'm missing a disc in my bag. I don't have something overstable that's short range. I have the Zone and I have the Raptor, but the Zone doesn't go over 250 feet and the Raptor doesn't easily go in that 300-foot range. So my goal for today is to find an overstable mid-range that goes about 300 feet and dumps off to the left. So Bob with Discraft sent me a few different molds to try out. He said I might like the Drone, I got the Wasp, I got the Buzz OS, and the Malta. So we're gonna try a few of each of these. Today we got a pretty good headwind coming this way. I'm gonna throw them a few times this way, a few times this back, and hopefully you guys can even help me decide which one you think is flying the best. But like I said, my ideal thought of why I want this disc is 300-foot straight to overstable, consistent overstable finish. So I'm gonna have my manager, Joe, go stand at the 300-foot mark. And so we want the disc to get as far as she is and left of her. And the wind is picking up, so this is gonna be really good practice. All right, so first up is gonna be the Malta. On all of these first reps of all the molds though, I'm gonna throw them as hard as I possibly can and see how much torque they can handle into this, I would guess, 15-mile-an-hour headwind. Joe's down there at 300 feet. It looks farther than I thought 300 feet was, so hopefully these can get there. That one didn't quite get there. It came up a little bit short. If she was a basket, I would only have about a 25-footer, but I'm trying to think about her being that I need to hit. So I want it to push a little bit farther. I'm gonna try again with another Malta and try to give it a little bit more power or maybe a little bit more turn of the wrist. I'm not a quitter, but first impressions is the Malta is a little bit too overstable for what I'm looking for. It doesn't seem to be that much longer than the Zone for my personal throw. That's coming up maybe 40 short of where Joe is standing. So I'm not looking for something that similar to the Zone. I want something longer. So I'll try again, but first impressions. Okay, next up is the Wasp. This is a disc I'm actually very familiar with. I used to throw this when I was on Team Discraft back in 2011. So we're gonna revisit this disc, and these are actually the Eric McCabe version. So shout out to my old buddy, Eric McCabe. We'll see what these are all about. Oh yeah. That one was actually perfect. It did come up a tiny bit short of her. It hit the ground, it actually skidded past her, so it had just enough speed to get to her. We're gonna try a little bit faster. I'd say that's pretty perfect. And we got one more for good measure. This one I'm gonna put out wide of her and see how hard it hooks up. This one I'm not really concerned with how far it goes because I already saw that they go far enough. This one I'm just curious how much it will hyzer. Interesting. It definitely didn't hyzer as much as the Malta, but I also turned my wrist a little bit more than I did on the Malta, and it didn't flip. It didn't hyzer hard, but it stayed straight. And like I said, this is about a 15-mile-an-hour headwind. Next up, I'm gonna grab the Buzz OS. So the Buzz is already a disc I know and love so much, so I'm excited to see how the overstable version of this disc holds up. I like the way this one feels in my hand better than the last two, but let's see if it has the flight I'm looking for. Liked that flight actually. I threw it a little nose up so you saw it kind of rose in the air, but I like the stability at the end. So I'm gonna try this one a lot flatter so I can see its true flight path through the wind. Very overstable, actually surprised me. I missed the left of my target because I didn't think it was gonna be as stable. So I'm excited to grab that one and try it again, knowing that it can handle power. Let's move on though to the last one, the drone. Right away, the first shot with the drone, and actually I want to tell you guys, this is literally the first times I'm throwing these discs. Bob sent me this box, and I mean, you guys can see they're not marked, they still have the sticker. These are first flights, so I hope you guys are enjoying this candid moment with me. First impression was it was very similar to the Malta. The way it feels too, kind of the rim, but also just in that it's only going about 260 for me before it's hyzering. So let's try this one a little bit harder, give it a lot more pop at the end, and try to even get my wrist a little bit and hyzer. So you can see I got a whole section of discs that are short left. The shortest one I see, Buzz OS. Both of them are Buzz OS's. So I gotta get those farther. And then we got drone, Malta, Malta. So all of those came up short. It's funny, look at all three of these are Wasp, Wasp, Wasp. So those are all within 10 feet, 15 feet of Joe. So right off the bat, kind of what I thought was gonna be my favorite was the Wasp, but I really like the way the Buzz OS flew. I'm just realizing I need to put more power on them. All right, so while Joe gets in place down there at 300 feet again, I'm realizing another thing that goes into picking a disc is the way that they feel in your hand, big time. So the drone and Malta, for instance, you can kind of see this dip right here. In my hand, it doesn't feel as comfortable as this more flat dip. So it's kind of about how it feels to you. Some of them are a little bit more flexy. These ones are more stiff. So, you know, obviously that goes into account, but for the most part, for me, I'm trying to find the disc that flies how I want. And if this ends up being it, I'm gonna learn to love the way it feels because the flight is what I'm after. So anyway, like I said, right off the bat, Wasp, Buzz OS, drone and Malta tied. But we're gonna try again. That was only my first impressions of them. So now we're throwing into a tailwind, so we know that means it's gonna hyzer even more so. So I'm gonna actually try to rip these out at that telephone pole on the right and see how much they swing over. The wind actually kind of stopped, didn't it? It's not really that windy right now. Okay. Got close to her, for sure. And it was just the most natural hyzer. It just, I mean, no doubt about it, that is just gonna go left. Huh. Okay, so what I noticed is it doesn't really go far to the left. It kind of comes more down, which is a nice feature in a disc, right? Where it doesn't move as far left and right, it just kind of sits down. So I like that. We'll see on the way back again if I can make that, if I can duplicate that. All right, now I'm gonna try the Malta because I think it's the most similar to the drone. So I'm gonna try to throw those exactly how I threw the drone and see how these hold up. Similar, feels like it's the same disc almost. Crazy. All right, this one we're gonna try to put a little more anhyzer on. Looks like the perfect distance, but I don't want something that's gonna turn like that. Seemed like it was so hard to the left on the way here. and then kind of push to the right on the way back. So we're gonna try that again both ways and see, did I do something wrong or did the disc do something wrong? All right, Buzz OS. I'm very excited to throw this one again. I loved the first thought of it, but I didn't do it justice. Wow, I'm really underestimating the Buzz OS. Just something about the word buzz in the title is making me think it's gonna be straight, but it has a lot more torque resistance than I thought, so I'm gonna try that one again. Ooh. Wow. So that's how it's meant to fly. So it's tough to commit to ripping something that hard over, but then again, that is the type of disc I'm looking for. At a course like Wild Horse, I'm gonna have to throw that type of shot. So last up is the Wasp. I like the distance that I'm getting. I like the way it feels, but it's not dumping as hard as the other three. So now I have to weigh the pros and cons. It's not flipping, but it's not dumping. It's just straight, even with a lot of power. So I have to figure out what exactly I'm looking for. All right, let's go try him one more time in the headwind and really rip into him. Okay, so on the tailwind, or slightly lack of tailwind on the way back, all of them actually went past Joe at 300 feet, except for one of the drones and one of the Buzz OSs. So tailwind's not really what I'm looking for. I'm thinking when I'm having to throw into a wind and I can't get there because my Buzz is flipping or my Raptor's coming up a little too hard and left, what do I need? And that's usually in a headwind. So this is the more important way. And I want to see if I can get those drones and the Maltas all the way to her this time. Also, I was short on the Buzz OSs on the headwind on the way there. And let's try to get the Wasps on a little bit more of a hyzer because they're not really going as far left as I'm wanting. So I'm gonna throw the Wasps first, and I'm gonna put a lot more hyzer angle on them to see if they will go left. So it definitely flies good on a hyzer, but it came up short. So this one I'm gonna put on the hyzer angle, but flatter in the air. So I'm gonna try to get it my head height, no higher than that, but on the hyzer release. See what happens there. Obviously a little bit higher than head height, but it was a perfect shape of the shot. It landed right by Joe's feet. This one I'm gonna get a little bit lower, see if it cuts through the wind a little better. Okay, interesting. Now let's try the Buzz OS. I did it again, I underestimated it. This one is gonna be a lot harder. Wow. It's obviously gonna take a little bit more work than a couple reps in the field. All right, Malta. All right, last up, drone. All right, so I don't know. I'm obviously not gonna make my decision with these first few reps, first day of the field, but it really helps my confidence when the first few shots are good and how I want them to be. So right away, I feel like I want to narrow it down between the Buzz OS and the Wasp just because the first few times were the best. I am going to continue working with all of these and purposely come out on a day where it's more windy. A lot of times we get discouraged from going out and practicing in the wind, but I think on an instance like this, it's actually perfect practice. So I'm gonna come back out. I'll do some Instagram videos or stuff like that, reels showing you my progress with these, but this is gonna conclude the video today. I'm curious, what do you guys think that I should bag? Drop your comments below what you recommend, or if there's one of the molds out there that you don't think I even tried that I should try. But it could be one of those things where I bag a few of them, or maybe not bag them, but I have them in my backups and I put them in my arsenal. So I say, oh, hey, this one's not as far. It's a little farther than a zone, so let's try the Malta. Let's try the drone. But then I might want the Wasp on a slightly straighter shot. So learning all the molds is important because then you can keep a few on hand and go from there. But again, like I said, if you guys have any recommendations, any critiques, anything like that, or a suggestion of a disc I haven't tried yet, drop it below in the comments. Also, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for lots of other videos coming up. Thank you to my Patreons and thank you all for watching, and go throw Discraft.